y'all, and welcome back to my channel. And welcome to another incarnation, another anti-haul as we charge forward. Doing very well, by the way, with my low buy. But with a low buy comes the responsibility of discussing makeup that I'm not gonna buy, which has increased even more because I'm trying to be especially selective about the products that I purchase for my reviewing purposes. We ain't buying just willy-nilly to have shiz and all that jazz, which we're gonna get into that in one of these products because it's something that I would love to have, but I ain't gonna have that shiz. Maybe come 2021, but definitely not 2020. Obviously, if y'all have this shiz and you love it and you're planning on getting it, that's great. I always say you keep doing you, boo-boo. We all have different opinions and different needs and different whatevers and different budgets. It just so happens that my budget this year happens to be about like this. So we are getting just a little bit more intense, a little bit more roasty, a little bit more anti-holly. But you'll like it. I like it. It's fun. It's therapeutic. And quite frankly, a lot of these makeup brands need to be called out for their shiz anyway. We're just gonna jump right on into it with something that y'all know I have issues with. I feel like every time something like this is released, I gotta talk about an anti-haul. I gotta get on that soapbox and repeat myself so that my vision, my words, my whatevers are heard. But Real Techniques, that has one of my favorite sponges, which I prefer more than the Beauty Blender, although the Wet n Wild one is my absolute favorite. But they decided, oh hey, St. Patrick's Day is coming along. You know what we should release? We should take our sponge and release a green version. Y'all know how I feel about companies taking a product they already have, a very rudimentary product, a very simple product, and being like, you know what would zhuzh this up? You know what would really shake the game? Is offering it to people in a seasonally depicted color. And it gets to the point where you're just using anything, any old little thing, for an excuse to come out with something new. Because it's St. Patrick's Day. And I'm like, if y'all are gonna do St. Patrick's Day, do it right. Because this time last year, that's when Colourpop released their Just My Luck palette. And that just opened up the Pandora's box of those monochromatic palettes for them. But when that was released, it was timed perfectly. It shooketh the game. It was sold out. It's amazing. One of my absolute favorite green palettes on the market. But when you're gonna be like, all right, St. Patrick's Day, green sponge. It's kind of like, is that the best you can do? And I understand it's Real Techniques. They are a, they're not a they're not, a makeup brand as it traditionally is. They're not making eyeshadow palettes, blush, and whatever. They are a makeup tools brand, so there's only so much you can do. But I have just come to resent the whole let's take the sponge and change it up by giving it a different color and then making it all kinds of whatever by being like, well, it's for St. Patrick's Day. And then we'll have a red one for Valentine's Day. We'll have a purple one for Easter. We'll have a brown one for Thanksgiving. We'll have I don't even know what for Christmas, probably a different red one. But it's just like, do something different, do something exciting, do something thrilling. And then if we're talking about that, I saw that one on Trend Mood and I was like, Real Techniques? I had expected so much better for you. And then I scrolled a little bit more and y'all, I saw Beauty Blender did the exact same shiz. Oh look! New color for St. Patrick's Day! It's a green sponge. And one of y'all actually commented on one of my products, makeup things no one asked for. And you made a comment that was saying, yeah, they do this and I bought a couple different one of them, but they feel different and they act different varying on the color. So as they do different colors, they're not using the same material. And so I find that extremely frustrating when you're, a sponge company, Beauty Blender, that I've said multiple times is up its own butt, and you're all like, oh, we've got this lovely, beautiful green sponge, and people are expecting it to be the exact same as that pink one, but it's a different material and it works differently. It's just like, you're offering it in these colors, you're acting like a colorful changing or just a different color sponge is really shaking up the makeup game, and you can't even make it the same material as your original one. Consistency is key, and you're consistently making different colored sponge, but you're not making them consistent. Y'all know I have a certain amount of resentment for colored sponges. I'm like, just make a sponge. Make it a bomb diggity sponge, and I couldn't care less what color it is. Something that I am very heavily anti-hauling, and I know this is going to be old news by the time this video goes up. But y'all know your girl has a very soft spot for Manny's brand Lunar Beauty. I love 99% of the products that I have from him. And y'all know that I really love his highlighters. Well, Makeup Revolution, that is a brand known for skirting on the edge of stealing intellectual property. You know, we had the very controversial when he took the KVD Shade and Light palette, and they're like, let's call it the Light and Shade palette. You know, that wasn't necessarily the cutest look. Well, then they decided to literally, Manny did a whole video about this. I will leave it linked down below. But they were like, hey, let's take this really unique and really amazing componentry packaging that was very unique to Manny MUA, to Lunar Beauty, and that was very much created by them, and let's redo it. And let's not even try to be unique or different. Let's just totally put highlighters in it. Because someone on the marketing team thought that was a good idea. Who's approving this stuff to go out? Who's saying yes? We are known for duping things, but let's not so much dupe as let's steal and let's take this thing that's very arguably belongs to someone else and not even try to, I mean, yeah, they had different finishes. You know, one of the highlighter packaging was silver and one was black and one was whatever, but it's just like, well, why? I feel like Lunar Beauty doesn't get as much exposure and as much love as it should, because if you're thinking in terms of influencer brands, his has been the least problematic, especially if you think about, like, the more you think about Laura Lee, you think about Jaclyn Hill, you know, he's out here releasing bomb diggity products and not getting all the hype and the whatever that he deserves. And so to have that creativity, that very unique thing that was like something, you know, that packaging and those hot, y'all, you want a bomb diggity highlighter, go buy his shiz, because it is just absolutely stunning. But to have that stolen and taken, I'm just, it's not, that would make me enough to boycott Makeup Revolution. Something that a couple of y'all tagged me in and were all like, hey, did you see this? It kind of looks like your aesthetic. What's your thoughts? And that's the Lime Crime Fairy Garden collection. Now, it was kind of, I mean, Lime Crime is a brand that I occasionally get totally whatever for. Like their highlighter palettes I love, the Venus XL I love, their liquid lipsticks are pretty good, I like getting them on sale. And they released this and they had like lid light or whatever, you know, they're like a cream eyeshadow for your lid, you can use them for highlighting, and then they had the liquid highlighters and maybe some other things. I feel like I would have preferred, I don't know, single pan highlighters rather than an eyeshadow highlighter hybrid. Y'all know I'm not the biggest fan of liquid highlighters. I have what I use and I use what I love, you know what I mean. So I'm not really in the market for any more. And you know, the aesthetic was cute, but I feel like they could have taken it a bit further. You know, if you're gonna do a collection, kind of go ham, go balls to the wall, especially when you're a very kitschy and a very campy and a very fairy tale-esque brand like Lime Crime. You know, either go all in or don't go there at all. And they're just kind of, Lime Crime I feel just kind of has some random products. They're just sort of thrown in here. I don't think these things are going to be super raved about. I don't think they're really that unique. I don't think they're anything that's like, oh wow, this is something we haven't seen before. This is something that's going to get all kinds of hype and rave and review. I could be wrong though. I am not a mind reader. I do not see into the future. But it was just something that I saw that was like, yeah, that is something I absolutely do not need. And something that I absolutely do not need that I would absolutely love to have. You know, one of my favorite lip products, it's kind of more of a recent thing, but Patrick Ta, he was like, I'm going to release these blushes, I'm going to release these Silky lip creams, and those Silky lip creams, if you like a liquid lipstick, but you don't want it to be matte and drying and whatever, you want that full coverage, opacity, you want something that's going to make your lippies plump, juicy, and thick, get you them Patrick Ta Silky lip creams. There's a picture that was all like, oh, look, he's going to be coming out with, I think, a lip liner, and it looks like he's going to extend that shade range. And y'all know I've said it before with both those blushes from him and that if he were to release a full range or to extend the shade range, I would be hard pressed to not buy that, but I need to be accountable, which is why I do this. I need to anti-haul them because I said in 2020 with this low buy, I'm not buying things just to buy them. And the last thing I need is more liquid lipstick of any kind. And so I'm anti-hauling it for 2020 because I'm trying to be good and I'm trying to do my whatevers. Like I said, I don't need no more liquid lipstick. I don't need nothing more in that situation. But I saw that they were like extending the shade range. I'm like, I want that because I absolutely adore his formula of those. They are so beautiful, so lovely, very well wearing. They're just a gorgeous formula. So I definitely recommend y'all going out and checking it out. But for me and my whatevers right now, I gotta say no, even though I really, really want this. Okay, something else that is very much related to something that I anti-hauled fairly recently. It may have even been the anti-haul, excuse me, Burp Squad. It may have been the anti-haul right before this, but Sugarpill, a brand that I love, a brand that I would love to bring out more palettes, decided they were gonna do their capsule collection too. Now, I anti-hauled the first capsule collection because the packaging gives me agita. It's just all kinds of mishmash, and I understand it's a capsule collection, so it's supposed to be, you know, certain memorable whatever shades going on. But it just looks so disjointed. I will admit this one had that beautiful orange and that beautiful, like, I think maybe this one has a green too. But if I take those shades and I either cover them up or if I take them objectively, pop them out, I have them. I'm sure I have them with all the green and all the orange eyeshadow that I have in my collection. I am guaranteed 99.99999% to have those shades already. And it's just, you know, y'all know I feel about the going on like that. And I'm like, can we please get just a nice streamlined color story palette? Or if you're gonna do the brights, because they're heartbreaker palettes, those were just four very statement making brights, do something like that. You know, give us a 4, give us a 6, give us an 8, you know, give us options like that with just these major brights, whatever, and make them the same pan size. I'm like, what if I really love the shade that's like unlucky enough to get the pan size that's big, and then my least favorite shade is the one that's this big? Just give me a streamlined palette, same eyeshadow pan size, bunch of different crazy colors, and I will buy that shiz and I will review it. But I ain't buying no crazy capsule whateverness collection when the colors that I'm super attracted to are ones that I already have. Otherwise, I wouldn't be super attracted to it. That's one thing that I'm trying to do, like, because you're always attracted to you're like, ooh, look, purple, ooh, pink, ooh, green, ooh, orange. And you're like, you know, you're in this situation because you love these colors, so take a step back and look at how much, I mean, I have so much pink eyeshadow. I got bit by that red and pinky tones, whatever, and I probably have enough for... I have enough. Then something that's just kind of like you know, I could potentially like it, buy it, but probably not. Colourpop, because this is what they do, release products that I don't want, aside from the Sailor Moon collection. But the Making Mauves palette, you know, it's pretty. I do love me some mauve whatever tones. I love the Modern Renaissance. I love the Huda Beauty New Nudes, which is very mauve-y and nudie and purpley, you know, and I'm like, you know, it's Colourpop, it's gonna be like $12, you know, but I like mauve. I have mauve. I probably don't need more. The shimmer to matte ratio is good. It's only got 3 shimmers. It's a 9-pan palette. But it's just kind of, you know, yeah, I like mauves, but with Colourpop, it's just kind of like, oh, okay. You know, it's like they do these really boring, rudimentary things, and they order a crap ton of product, and then they do something that's a little bit more innovative, a little bit more out there, like the Sailor Moon collection, and they can't be bothered enough to order enough supply to be suffice for the demand, which I understand is a marketing technique and all that jazz, but it doesn't mean I have to like it. But the making mauves, the moving mauves, the making mauves is just I'm like, okay, all right, goodbye, have fun. Then something that I really want, I want it because I want it, and I want it because I want to support the person it's in collaboration with. So Ofra, which y'all know has one of my end-all be-all top 5 favorite highlighter formulas, they were like, let's collab with one of the sweetest, most wonderful, most genuine people on the platform, Samantha March. I adore her content. When I started getting into YouTube, she was one of the people that I really hardcore watched because she was so down to earth and wonderful and sweet and just very, very relatable. And so she did a collab, has a collab with Ofra. It's out now, and I want it, I really do, but like, the highlighter is a mixture of 2 shades that I already own. There's a bronzer, I don't bronze, obviously, and there's a blush. And I look at it and I'm like, oh, it's so pretty, I'd like to have it, you know, I'd love to support Samantha, but the realistic low-buy side of things, it's just not something that I can justify spending my money on right now. Had I the cash to burn? Yes, I would have got it. But it's just, you know, I look at it and I'm like, oh, good. You just, when you see people you love getting collaborations and getting the recognition and getting the dues they deserve, it makes you so happy. But for me and my current wallet situation, it's just something that I can't get. We might as well talk about something else that I would like to have that I can't get right now. Y'all know your girl loves blush. I mean, y'all know your girl loves makeup. But blush and highlighter are 2 things that I see it and I'm like, And Fenty decided they were going to come out with these beautiful poppin' color cream blushes. I mean, there's an orange and a purple that I was like, I kind of need that all over my cheeks right now. But you all know that blush is one of the things that I am trying not to buy in 2020 because I have plenty. I got drawers of blush. And y'all also know that when it comes to cream products, basically my end-all be-all holy grail cream products, especially for the face, are from my Natasha Denona face palettes. That's basically it for me. So to spend money on blush that I already don't need in a cream formula that I don't know if I'm gonna like, while I've got cream blushes from Natasha Denona and from Lime Crime that I do not use. This would really just be a totally backwards impulse purchase. But I saw the promo and I was like, ooh girl, those cute. If they had been powder blushes, oh my goodness, I would have been battling with myself to be like, you know, you got to figure out a way for you to get a review out of this so you can buy these. Okay, then something, this is, y'all probably gonna think I'm a broken record, but this is like a reaffirmation of a item that I already anti-hauled in my last anti-haul. And at the time, we hadn't seen the whole thing. We'd seen like a little picture of one of them. Now we have the whole spread. We know what's going on. But the Huda Beauty Pastel Mini Obsessions palettes. Now, y'all know for the most part, I like me some pastels. I think pastels are fantastic in bright colors. I used a pastel purple shade to start off with this. You know, you want something that's a great starting shade. You want something that's a little bit softer. And so she came out with, I believe, a pink, a mint, and a purple. You know, I love me some mint. I love me some pink. I love me some purple. The matte to shimmer ratio isn't the best. For the most part, I really do love her little 9-pan palette formula. But y'all, I have issue. This is one thing that I hate is when she's deeper skin toned, although apparently she hasn't been the most whatever with those of the deeper melanin. That's a whole box of controversies we're not going to get into right now. But when you're making this pasty, And pastels, just for the basicness of them, they can go ashy and whatever real quick. And even that aside, you know, there isn't a lot of depth. I understand pastels are supposed to be more light, but when you do your promo pictures and you do your whatevers and you pick the deepest shade in all three palettes to be the one look that you're doing, you know, in I believe most of the pictures, it's just like the deepest mint shade and then the deepest pink, maybe a little bit of whatever, and the deepest you know, it falls under the same situation of when you have a palette that's majority neutrals and then it has like a pop of blue or a pop of pink or whatever, and they use the pop color in the palette for the promo pictures because that's going to make it sell more than if we use the basic shades. I don't like it when in the promo pictures, you know, the palettes aren't going to be hideously versatile as it is, and then in the promo situation, you're just taking the deepest and the most versatile shade of all and you're just using that. I find it a little bit deceptive, a little bit deceiving in showing you what the palette can really do. You know, they're like, oh, look how deep and gorgeous and beautiful this is. And then you get the palette and you're like, well, the lighter shades don't even show up, but the deeper one that they used in the promo, that showed up. Maybe it's me, maybe I'm a little too judgmental, I'm too whatever, but I wasn't a fan of the presentation. I think the palettes are kind of lackluster even for a pastel situation, because just because it's light and pastel, you can still have more depth and definition than these have. Then something that I'm anti-hauling, not because necessarily I have like huge, amazing, whatever passionate feelings about it. I'm just anti-hauling it because it's not something that I need, not something I'm particularly drawn toward. But Colourpop, again, they are doing another collaboration. Colourpop just releases so much and every other thing is a collaboration. It's just all kinds of whatever. But the Mulan movie is coming out and Colourpop was like, all right, our time has come. Let's do some more Disney intellectual property collaboration, which falls under the same thing that is any kind of intellectual marketing, even with the Sailor Moon thing that I really want. It's not so much the makeup so much as it is the marketing on the on the thing that they're using to sell the makeup. You know, you want it because it's Mulan. You want it because is the new one done by Disney? I don't know, but you want it because, you know, it's print, you know, you don't want it necessarily because of the makeup. Although looking at this collection, they are pretty spot on. It's a really nice, consistent color story. I did think the blush and highlighter, or maybe two blushes, I thought those were really pretty, especially with that like lotus flower embossing. I thought that was very well thought out. The palette kind of looks just like a Ready Brown whatever palette that they've already released at least 3 times. It's very true to theme, very red and earthy and grungy, but it's still, at the same time, it isn't anything remarkable. What's making this thing something I feel people want to buy is because it's Mulan. Sort of the same thing that they did with the Frozen 2 palettes, the Elsa and the Anna, and even with, you know, the Sailor Moon, you know, it's like, all right, let's take these shades and let's slap some kind of super popular intellectual property on this and people are going to want to buy it, which is a tactic that works because y'all know your girl likes purchasing merchandise from things that she likes. And if we can get it coupled with makeup, that's kind of like an added bonus. I mean, if this had been a Beauty and the Beast or even a Little Mermaid or, you know, some other incarnation of whatever, I probably would have been a little bit more tempted, but it's just kind of not my aesthetic, not my thing. The eyeshadow palette is whatever. I don't need any more blush, more highlighter. I definitely don't need all the extra add-ons they got in there. Lip products, glitters, eyeliners, whatever's. I'm good. I know a couple of y'all have told me that you're excited for this and are asking me my opinions on it, and I was just like, kind of indifferent, not something that I'm interested in picking up. Then then something else that's kind of like I wouldn't buy it anyway, but I still want to talk about it, especially since I'd watched a anti-haul by Abby Williams, and she commented on something that was super right on point about this product. But Morphe, y'all know me and Morphe don't have a good relationship. You're never gonna see me being a Morphe babe. Use my code. That just ain't gonna happen. I feel like at that point I would have sold my soul to the devil. But the Morphe 24A Artistry palette. Now, looking at this, I'm kind of gonna proc off what she said, because what she said was so on point. Her comment about this is this palette, if you look at it, it's bright and it's got some, like it's kind of like you got the more neutral up top and then you got the brights on the bottom. Her comment was that this is what the James Charles mini palette should have been. And in all honesty, truer words were never said, because when the James Charles mini palette came out, it was like, okay, they took the big palette, which people already had, people already owned, people already loved and raved about. And they were like, what the demographic really needs is that palette in mini size. Which, in all honesty, is the absolute opposite of what the demographic needs. And then they released this 24A palette, which is a beautiful, looking at it, it's really nice. If this had been released by Colourpop or, you know, another brand, it might be more viable, more like something that I would be interested in getting, because it is a very nice layout for someone who wants to have neutrals, but also the brights. If they had taken this and been like, okay, we're kind of expanding on a theory and we're giving you the James Charles 2.0. I think that would have been fantastic, because it would have still been in the same vein as his original with like the neutrals and the brights, but it was taking that concept and expounding on it while still making it a smaller version. I mean, in all honesty, Morphe just don't know what it's doing with itself. It's busy all off in the whatever, getting mock-ups from like, you know, independent whatever companies and then just having it for them and putting Morphe on it. In all honesty, I feel like Morphe isn't actually putting that much thought. Their company isn't really putting that much thought into the color whatever layouts. They're like kind of paying someone else to do that and then putting the Morphe branding on it and being like, oh, look how creative we are. I mean, that is just my opinion, allegedly, and all that. But I honestly feel like if that palette had been the James Charles mini palette, there wouldn't have been nearly as much whatever. I wouldn't have dug nearly as hard into him on that, because it actually looks like it would have been a thought out release, whereas it was just here's a mini version that apparently doesn't seem to have the same quality as the first one. So I'm obviously not going to buy it. I did just kind of want to give my 2 cents on that, because I thought what she said was so spot on, and I feel like more people need to hear it, because it was just such an astute read of that palette release. But that is all I have for this anti-haul. Lost my hat. Obviously, let me know what you feel about these products down below. Like I was saying, I know a couple of y'all are pretty excited about some of these. I love hearing y'all's thoughts and opinions and letting me know how the quality is, how you like it, you know, just letting me know what's going on. Because obviously, these are things I haven't tried because I'm not buying them. And of course, let me know something that you are going to be anti-hauling or that you have anti-hauled. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and as always, keep it real. Mwah!